the channel, I got the eyes of a Panthor with Panthor 1/6 scale Mondo Collectibles Masters of the Universe unboxing and review.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another He-Man and the Masters of the Universe unboxing and review. In today's video, we got something extra special. We got an all-timer once again with the 1/6 scale He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Mondo Collectibles Panthor. And of course, for all your Mondo needs, make sure you head over to Mondo's website. But for everything else He-Man needs, make sure you're hitting up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% on all in-stock items. Anything over $79 does ship free. Got to get a deal out there. And a deal tough to come by when you're a Mondo collector. As we know, they have many lines outside of He-Man. Not a lot of sales, not a lot of discounts on these. You pretty much pay the full price. But of course, this was a 2-week window pre-order, and I was one of the fortunate ones, got my order in just like that, and they shipped him out just like that. And I couldn't believe it. Within a week of ordering, he was at my doorstep. What a true time to be alive it is with the old big kitty right here today. But some of you guys and the rest of you, if you don't have it already, you should be getting them fairly soon. But they said some of the people that pre-ordered during that 2-week window, you'll get it, I think, in the springtime. So it all depends where you ordered. Just kind of the luck of the draw, I guess, a little bit there. But we know about Battle Cat prior. We unboxed the Battle Cat version of this 6 months ago on the channel. What is time? Once again, an absolute all-timer. One of the greatest steeds I've ever dealt with in my entire life, and have to imagine this is going to be right about the same thing here. A lot of reuse with these, as we're going to probably see, but man, an all-timer here. I never thought here in 2023, the end of 2023 as we're filming this here, that little Kyle, back when I was 3 years old, buying He-Man, Masters of the Universe stuff, just being all engulfed into that world with the cartoon, you name it, role-playing items, that here I am all these years later, all in on these kind of things like this, and they have stuff for serious adult collectors, because we got to take that step back. This isn't a toy for a little kid. This is serious adult collectors. Serious stuff here today. Oh, it's serious, let me tell you. But this is serious adult collector items, and I never would have imagined, I don't know what I was imagining when I was like 2 or 3 years old. I'm sure it was some great stuff, but never would have guessed all these years later, here we are, living the dream with some of the most upscale stuff ever, and just some of the coolest stuff ever. Now, one thing that's really tough with these is, where do you find room to display it? Because, man, they're really building out this universe and X-Men universe and other universes. Pretty tough if you're a collector of this. If you're getting the 112 stuff, kind of like behind me, the Marvel Legends, He-Man, stuff like that, a little bit more room to display that. But boy, you get two big kitties in Panthor and Battle Cat. Watch out, that's some room killer. But boy, oh boy, almost like statues, almost like art pieces is what they really look like here. But of course, we're going to do this unboxing like we do all the other unboxings on this channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And like I said, Panthor was a 2-week window. This is the normal version of Panthor. Now, we did see at PowerCon. If you checked out my PowerCon coverage when I was out there, once again, 6 months ago, what is time? Who knows? We were checking out the details on this Panthor at the time, but there was also a flocked Panthor at the time. Looks like that flocked Panthor has been put on hold. We've heard that a lot over the years. I think Mattel even said it, that, hey, articulation on flocked items is a pretty tough one. And they want to make sure with the price point on these that there's nothing goes wrong, that the customer doesn't get a sour experience. You got to commend Mondo for that kind of thing, not rushing something. And honestly, don't rush our wallets either. I said it at PowerCon to a good friend of the channel, Jeff George. We were talking about this. I said, I don't want to see them both released at the same time, because it's around $400 or $500 for one of these bad boys. This is a big expense, and to have to buy a flocked and a non-flocked at the same time, really putting a hurting on wallets out there. I think you put some time in between them. A year from now, you come out with that flocked Panthor once all the bugs are worked out. So very thankful Mondo went this route. As like I said, it's very expensive, especially around the holidays. I don't know if people would have been jumping in on both of those. It might have been a tough sell, but I'm pretty sure with the limited amount of the flock, they were saying about 1 to 400 on that. probably would have sold out pretty quick. But today, we're talking all things regular edition, and you can't have Battle Cat without Panthor. So iconic to the He-Man and the Masters universe, and just like Mattel back in the day and Mattel right now, we're going to get the most out of our molds, and we're going to get a little bit of that with Panthor, which we'll dive into first here in a second. But let's look at the packaging. I always love the packaging on these. You guys know how I go. I already got them out of the styrofoam container, so this is a little easier to work with. But I wanted to take a look at the art on this bad boy. Now, right up top there, you see that Mondo seal. If it's not on there, I guess it's a bootleg. Who knows? I don't know. But it does look good. It's got the Mondo seal right there. All around Panthor and Skeletor here, you got some of those kind of minions there. We got those in the Masters Universe Classics line. Would love to see them in the new Eternia line, something like that. I really do like how these guys look. Who knows? Maybe Mondo will come out with an army builder. Can you imagine a Mondo army builder? Oh my gosh, don't do it. Don't do it, Mondo. We don't want to see that. Who knows? But you got Skeletor riding Panthor. Now, we do know there is a Skeletor that was pre-ordered. Once again, what is time? I have no concept of time. Let's say it was 8 months ago. That kind of 3-in-1 Skeletor. Unfortunately, that is not out right here. But there is a Skeletor up on Mondo's. It's kind of a dumbed-down, easier version. And if it wasn't so expensive, I would pick one of those up because it would be kind of cool to have different versions of Skeletor to display and things like that. But looking really, really good here is the Skeletor artwork on Panthor. And then what's there to be said about Panthor? Really stunning artwork, and Mondo really carrying the legacy from Mattel and others. The Masters Universe graphics artwork is some of the best in the game in any of the toy lines, and we're seeing that continue right here with Mondo. So shout out to the artists and stuff on that. Panthor, look at that, looking very heavy metal right over there. That looks very heavy metal. Same thing on the side right here, Panthor. And on this side here, you get some of the jibber-jabber UPCs, things like that. Nothing on the bottom, just plain black. And then on the back, we got the blurb. You guys know I'm here for a blurb all day long, and we're going to read this blurb, see what's going on here. It says, by the power of Grayskull, Battle Cat's sworn enemy Panthor is feared throughout Eternia, even by evil warriors. From the foot of the Snake Mountain throne in the heat of battle, his fierce roar is heard by all. Saved as a Dialix cub by Keldor, this purple beast has remained faithful at his master's side, through thick and thin in his transformation into the overlord of evil. Now he is known to the heroic warriors as the Savage Cat of Skeletor. And it says, collector's model, this is not a toy, and I would agree with that. My kids aren't touching this. You know, I trust my kids, but I'm not even going to let them touch this at all. It's just not going to happen here. But looking very, very nice. I love everything about the packaging on here. Very simple, but very effective at the same time. Of course, any Mondo item, you best be saving your package. It's an all-timer in the package department. Make sure you're saving that. I did talk about the internal guts here. We do get this big styrofoam shipping container. Same thing we got with Battle Cat, so that makes a lot of sense here. So I'm going to put all this stuff to the side, and I'm going to grab Panthor, and we're going to be back talking all things Mondo 1/6 scale Panthor. All right, here we are. We got Panthor out of the package. Of course, every piece individually wrapped. You got protective material underneath the saddle, underneath everything. Took a long time to get him out there, but kudos to Mondo. Something, once again, this expensive has to be protected. Nobody wants this arriving at their doorstep with any dings, scratches, dents, damage, broken parts. Thankfully for me, none of that happened there. There's always going to be a case, but they do a fabulous, fabulous job protecting this big kitty here. We will do that. But let's walk through the accessories first on this one. And I guess that's technically the head sculpts, really, is what we're going to walk through. And I'm going to pull this head off here first. We're just going to go down the line of these heads right here. Now, we do get the stock head out of the package. Very, very cool, of course. A lot of reuse throughout with Battle Cat. You're going to see a lot of color changes here, being purple instead of the green and the striped yellow. But a lot of stuff changing over with some new bells and whistles as well. Though we do get the stock Panthor head right out of the package here. Looking absolutely beautiful. The purple stuff, I was going to say skin color, but I guess fur color on this one looks really good. Two big old ears going on, and then you got the eyes, those yellow eyes just piercing into your soul here with the purple background. You do got the scar on the eye right there. I'm sure Battle Cat gave him that in one of their scraps over the years. Big mouth, big snout, and then of course you get the jaw movability here. We love that is an option here. We should be able to move the jaw on something like this. Really dynamic for toy photographers. You can get different looks by just moving the jaw just a little bit. It's not loose, it's very tight, so you can get down to the minute changes on this one if you really want to. Now Panthor, of course, Skeletor, not the best owner of an animal. It seems he does not get his teeth clean for Panthor, unfortunately, as Panthor's got quite the tartar buildup throughout. hard times. He's going to get some teeth removed, and I don't know how he's going to look if he's all gums. We'll see. I guess we'll cross that bridge when it comes. Hopefully not the Rainbow Bridge anytime soon for old Panthor. But he does got some jacked up, kind of crazy teeth, but at the same time, you got those big old sharp teeth, man. You don't want that kitty getting your head in the mouth, and he'll just take one bite and take your head off if you need to. But very good teeth there. And he's got big old purple tongue on him as well. Looking very nice. But of course, these heads just plug right in here. One thing I noticed with Battle Cat, same thing with this one here, is the heads plug in very easily. But just trying to get a little bit of mobility out of them a little bit, you can just kind of go all the way up and the head will pop off on you. Not the end of the world, but once you turn to a certain point, it will pop off. So just make note of that. Same thing happened with Battle Cat. So if you're familiar with Battle Cat, you're pretty familiar with this one, I think, at the end of the day. Second head sculpt here, very cool battle armor. Looking like something out of the prehistoric times is what this reminds me of. A big old saber-toothed tiger kind of helmet here. Big old tusk teeth here in black. I like that these are not really super hard plastic, that they got a little bit of mobility to them. It's not like you want to move them around a little bit, but I could see if these were really hard plastic, somebody could put it down and bam, crack a tooth off, something like that. So there is some movement to this. I think that was really smart by the Mondo team. But looking very fierce with this big helmet over the top. Of course, you got two spikes up there, a little green coloring up there, and a little bit of gold. It makes its way into very Oakland A's-esque is what it looks like here. But it just looks like he's wearing a skull helmet, and I guess that's kind of what he is wearing here. Once again, you get the same head going on, and you got the mouth that moves and opens. Once again, you can take all kinds of pictures, all kinds of stuff you want to do. You can do that right here, but a very cool head sculpt once again. I'm going to put this off over here to the side. Then we get the big old one, and this is kind of the 2000 series Battle Cat, or I should say Panthor on this one, getting my cats confused. 2000 series here with the big old kind of ram horns on the end. I remember when that first came out, I was like, that's not my Panthor, but boy, it really grew on me pretty quickly, as it is a very evil, very menacing look right here. I absolutely do like how this looks. Big old horns. Now these horns, they just pop in and out. These come separately. They just easily plug in here. Very easy to do. They go in there very tight. No issues with that. But boy, it gives him just quite the different dynamic here. Like he's worshiping Satan or something like that. Who knows what Panthor's up to in his spare time. But very big ram's head kind of horns going on. Just giving him another menacing look here. This time you don't got the saber tooth in the front, but you still got those horns. You got the helmet. Then you got the big mouth. You got the jaw that moves once again. Got the big old yellow teeth, yellow eyes, looking good. Definitely a fierce looking kitty right here. I'm here for this one. A very, very cool head right there. Then the final one is a fun one, much like we got with Battle Cat. We get a little of this action right here. How about that? That is the old cartoon style. A little bit more friendly, I guess I would say, with this kitty. Still a little bit scary. He's got his teeth, not quite as big. Still the same tartar. Any veterinarian's dream right here. He's seeing a payday. Instead of the yellow eyes, we get the green eyes with the black slits in them against the purple skin. I keep wanting to say skin, fur, you know what I mean. But definitely a classic look for old Panthor from back in the day. Really torn on what heads. It's one that I say it all the time. Some of these companies give us so many accessories, so many different heads. It's like, I just don't know what to do, and I don't know if you guys do. Send it off in the comments, but do you change your heads around and move stuff? It's a lot of work, because you can't just have this stuff laying out all the time. So you pack it all away. 2 weeks later, you know what, I'm going to unpack it all. I'm going to find this head, I'm going to switch the heads, put it back. It becomes a little bit of a chore, and I hate that part of it. But at the same time, I don't want just one head. I want to say, oh, I didn't like that head. I wish they would give us a different head. So really, you can't win either way of what it feels like. But I do appreciate that we get a lot of different options here. And for true high rollers out there that are buying multiples of these, and I think you could only buy a limit of 4 if I remember correctly. I guess you buy 4 of them, you display each head, you display them all different. That would be pretty cool, but I don't know who could afford that. Who's got the room for that? But man, shout out to you if you're one of those people all day. Let me come over. I want to see it all. So there it is. There's the heads on this one. Now we're going to get down to the old Panthor himself. And he is a heavy, heavy kitty. I can't remember what we weighed Battle Cat. He was like 8 pounds or something like that. He is the same right here with Panthor. Very, very heavy, as you can see here. Now, like I said, this is the stock head on him. I am not sold yet. I'll have to play with it around, figure out what head I'm going to use. We'll just keep the stock one on for right now. First things first, let's talk about this big old saddle, of course, reused from Battle Cat, even down to some of the ornate details and stuff. And I guess, speaking of Battle Cat, I could grab him. I have him right here off to the side. So we got him. So a lot of similarities, and you know how it goes. Got to get the most out of your molds. Big companies, little companies, big items, small items. I don't care what it is. We're going to try to get the most out of our molds, and we're doing that with Battle Cat right here and Panthor. But you can see very similar stance, very similar size between these two. They do look like they fit together. They are two big old kitties. Look at that. How cool is this to see these guys side by side? Just very, very iconic. Two of the most iconic cats of all time, I think, is a fair assessment right there. But we do got Battle Cat, we do got Panthor. Panthor's saddle, Battle Cat saddle, very, very similar. Color differences, that's a big thing. But the inlay and all that kind of stuff, the exact same thing. That just leads me to believe that really in Eternia, there's only one person making saddles, and he's making them for the good guys and bad guys. As long as the money's green, he doesn't care. I think that's the way that's going there. But we know the saddle from before, same type of thing. Now, this saddle is removable. I'll try to remove it for the glamour shots if I can even remember how to remove it. It can't be that hard, but you can take that off. And if you're removing the saddle, that's perfect if you're displaying the old cartoon head. I think that works a little bit better with that one, much like Battle Cat as well. Now, we do got the armed guards here on the front feet, front legs. These are removable as well. These feet. The foot is removable here, slowly but surely. Just a peg there, very big peg. And of course, you just slide that off. So if you want to remove these for whatever reason, you can do that, or you can just slide them back on there, slowly but surely. And then you got to pop it. Oh, it takes a little work. As I said, this is big and heavy. Big, heavy parts as well, but it is easily swappable. So you can do that. You can take the armor off if you want to. You want to have a naked kitty, you can easily do that. But you got the spikes throughout on the saddle, all the way down to the forearms, the front legs, whatever we're going to call it here. Looking good. Now, the back legs, you don't got any of that armor going on. You don't got any of the protective stuff, and you got different articulation. And I guess it's the perfect time to walk through the articulation on this. Once again, similar as this. We do got a bendy wire in the tail, a big, heavy, bendy wire. You also got movement out of the tail. We're here for that. And we know with cats, different poses, different tails gives them different personality, and we got that going on right here. Legs here, you got a little bit of a joint right there at the end. You get a little bit of side to side. You get the up and down. You can kick the legs back if you want to. You do get a knee and upper thigh. I guess I'm not familiar with the articulation, or I should say the anatomy more like it, of a Panthor here. But you do got the upper thigh movement here. You got the knee movement. Then you got the lower knee movement. Then you got the foot movement side to side, removable as well. So we have all that with the tail. Getting into the midsection here, nothing really. It's just a big chunk in the midsection. But the legs, the front legs, you can see, move them all the way up, all the way, a little bit of side to side, not tons of side to side, but you get a little bit of action there. We talked about the foot is removable. You do get the same joint here. You get the joint right there, kind of at the elbow. And you do get some side to side out of that elbow as well as up and down. Very cool. Also, you get the toe articulation, individual toe articulation on this one. So you can have them kind of clawing and moving around. You do get the toe articulation in the front, but not in the rear. So make note of that as well. And then you get up to the head and neck on this one. You do get the head side to side right there. You do get this head side to side, up and down. And like I said, you put it far enough up, the head will just pop out on you. So you got to be aware of that. It gets a little bit annoying. That's probably the most annoying feature with this figure, which isn't really that big of a deal, as I'd rather have it just pop off than actually break on you or break the peg. Nobody wants that, once again, on an expensive figure. But boy, he moves very good, side to side, back and forth. Now, it's not like he's Spider-Man or something, all these double-jointed, crazy different movements out of him, but you really don't need that for something like this. Yes, it's great to get in cool poses, cool little different things, stuff like that. I'm going to try this head on while I'm sitting here. It's cool to do that kind of stuff, but it isn't needed because I don't think a lot of people are playing with this one. I don't know who would be giving this to a kid or anything, so you don't need crazy, crazy articulation. I would say this has the perfect amount of articulation on it. How cool is that? Oh my gosh, unbelievable. Unbelievable cool on that one right there. Just so cool. So many possibilities on this. I did forget to mention that you got the little kind of elastic, leathery, gummy, I don't know what the material is. Rubber. I guess it's rubber at the end of the day. You got the stirrups right here. You can put your feet into if you need to, if you're Skeletor or Keldor back in the day, depending on, pick your poison here. But man, just an all-timer of an action figure, and it feels weird even calling it an action figure, as it feels like it's the next step above an action figure. It kind of feels like a statue, but also has mobility to it, so it truly is an action figure. But we do got some friends here. I do got He-Man just hanging out. We're going to put He-Man on his steed right there. And I said earlier, I wish that Skeletor figure was out, as it is not out yet, and I really would have liked it to have with this Battle Cat, but I do have the old Keldor figure right here, which I did pick up at PowerCon. He does have a kind of a classic crazy Skeletor head, so I swapped that on there right now, and we're going to use him temporarily, or maybe permanently, ride in Battle Cat into battle here. But boy, oh boy, how cool does that look with Skeletor on Panthor. What am I doing? What am I talking about? Very, very nice. Very, very cool. There's no doubt about it. Talk about a yin and yang, and I can see a lot of collectors that love He-Man. Obviously, very expensive. I keep going back to that with Mondo. You have this setup. You have Battle Cat, you have Panthor, you have Skeletor, you got He-Man. Man, that's about half your battle right there. I think that's a cool display in itself, having these guys right here. Who knows? Maybe put an Orko in the middle, see what happens. I don't know. Get crazy, get wild. But you can't really beat this for 80s nostalgia, Masters of the Universe nostalgia, Mondo action. Very, very cool. And with that, though, like I said, high price point. This isn't going to be for everybody, but I think most people would say, man, this is a pretty cool deal. Pretty cool day at the office, no doubt about it, with Panthor and Battle Cat before him. So there it is. Battle Cat and Panthor, Masters Universe 1/6 scale Mondo collectibles. What are your thoughts, though? What are your thoughts on this Panthor? Did you get yours already? Were you one of the lucky ones? Or are you waiting until March or April, depending where you got into the queue and picked yours up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Give it the old Fonzie hey. Give it the old thumbs up. Always helps the channel's growth, as you guys know by now. We got 2 YouTube channels going right now, 2 of them. Make sure you subscribe to both those. We got videos every single day on both of those channels. And of course, Patreon, your earliest and best way to watch early access to all the videos, and your best way to support the channel at the end of the day is the Patreon link in the description below. And you can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget social media. Sir Paul64 on the X. We heard it on the X like a young ZZ Top. That's exactly what we did. And then, of course, Threads, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for Skeletor, Panthor, He-Man, Battle Cat, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.